Okay. That looks good. Brinty, yo. What is your image there? I thought it was Dexter from Dexter's Lab for a second. Mohammed, hello. How you doing? It's cute. It's a One Piece pin. It's kind of nice. Alright. Digits RPG says hello, and I've been Chris says hello, Greg. Miss ya. Smiley. Yeah, when was the last time I was on? I think it was last on the beginning of the month. Probably some people missed that. I think it was the middle of the afternoon here in Japan, so I don't know what that time that was around the world for everybody, but and this is an unusual time too. I usually do like Saturday morning's my time, but Friday nights, I think I do a lot of Friday nights. I think everybody can hear me. You're probably going to hear an echo as this goes along. Why? I don't know. I got a pretty good sound set up. It's from courtesy of the One Piece podcast. But every once in a while it starts to echo for some reason. Don't know why that is. And I'm really not interested in fixing it because it seems to fix itself. I don't know how long it goes on for. But usually people tell me in the chat what's up. And I normally don't see what's going on in the chat, so I miss the echo. But Jacob says, "What's up, Greg?" Or "What up, Greg?" Well, let's see what is up. My figures. I got my figures up there. They're up. My blood pressure is not up. My blood pressure is doing well. What else? My weights are up. I'm lifting some weights, going to the gym. Finally able to do that after about 13 years of wanting to go to a gym but not having a quality gym. And last night was the first night I was able to finally bench my body weight again 10 times as a part of my routine. So, hooray for that. Hashtag goals. That's doing well. But what is up is probably my excitement over One Piece. Very excited about that. Especially the new chapter, which I'm assuming everybody has read by now. I think the English version of that is been available for quite a while now. A few days at least. We have it here in Jump, and Promise Neverland is on the cover. This is the final issue of Jump this year, at least for the 2019 year, with the themed spines that have gone through the years of Jump, and I'm excited to see what happens next. They said they have some kind of theme coming up next. I'm not sure what that is, but I am excited about it. Man, looks like... What is this about Neverland? It says the final chapter, or the final, chapter meaning, the final story has begun. Is Yakusoku no Neverland, a pretty short story? Is that... I'm getting that impression. I haven't read it in about almost exactly a year. So I have about a year of comic to catch up on for that. But I guess it's not that long of a story. Anyway... exciting chapter of One Piece. Lots happening. Lots of characters. Lots of talking. Lots of decent artwork. Really solid line work from Oda. I am impressed. I have not seen this kind of quality from him, consistent quality from him, in a long time. Maybe he had a really good break. Even some of the faces in the background here are really well drawn. Man, what is the deal? His quality is so nice here. And his lines are steady, they're consistent, they end sharply. Look at that on Queen's arm. That line that just comes down and ends to a point. My God. He hasn't had work this nice in quite some time. All right. Mohammed Ibrahim says, was just about to read your latest column, 113, and a notification popped. Yeah, 113 is up. 114 should have been up today. I think today's Wednesday, right? Yeah, no, wait, is it next week? I don't remember. But the next column has something that I want everybody to read for sure. Like a kind of tell your friends kind of thing. My next couple of columns are going to be focusing on the anime. Why? I'm taking a little bit of a break from the manga and I'm focusing on the anime because I'm really far behind the anime. I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm like maybe 10 or more episodes behind. And it's just, I'm missing like the hot topics, the things that are going on from week to week. And it just is a little bit difficult to write about. So by doing that, I'm going to be slowing down my manga progression in the columns. But at the same time, at this time of year, there are a lot of breaks going on. So that'll kind of even itself out going into next year. So I think starting maybe late January, I'll start to get back into the manga material as well. And after I get caught up with the animation, and the animation is hard to write about sometimes. There's stuff that I wrote about for the columns with respect to the anime that just have already been revealed in either One Piece magazine or something, and I really can't do anything about that. That's why it's tough to keep writing this with the episodes being so far ahead. So that's why I'm trying to do a speed up for that, and hopefully I won't have to do too much of a speed up for the manga with breaks and everything and year-end double issues involved. I think that will even itself out over time as well. But basically the idea is to do only 4 segments per column, and yeah, that's what we're looking at. But back to my main point. The next column, 114, has something that I would like everybody to read in there, because I think it's something that will have long-term implications. And it's not that anything was cut from it per se, but even I was very vague in writing about it, because I hope that line of thought that you'll find in that column come to fruition, for lack of a better word, no pun intended. I think you'll know what I mean when you read it. But 114, definitely look forward to. That's getting improved by Toei Animation right now. So that's going on. Manga stuff. I don't know if you folks have any questions about the manga or things you want me to go over. By all means, please do. Let me know in the chat. Otherwise, it's just good to get a chance to talk a little bit of One Piece, what's going on. Today, the Cowboy Bebop announcement was made that Cowboy Bebop will find its home at Netflix, and it will be produced by Tomorrow Studios, and that should be important to everybody. That should be a big name to everyone, because Tomorrow Studios is the production team behind none other than One Piece. That's right, they're doing Cowboy Bebop and One Piece. So maybe this tells us where the One Piece series may find its home. Don't know about that, but if you look at the production companies and how those are lining up, looks like that may be the case. Fanboy Sin says, remember when I asked you how Luffy would lose quickly in the beginning after showing inhuman durability against Katakuri? Your answer was way stronger hit. How Luffy would lose quickly in the beginning after showing inhuman? Your answer was way stronger hit. So, in summary, lose quickly in the beginning after showing you. Okay, so yeah, you're basically Greg kind of called it, and it was a way stronger hit, was it not? That was quite a, he bonked him good. That was the hit heard around the world after some fantastic display by Luffy of heavy hitting attacks one after another, just killing it against Kaido. and then Kaido just comes back. We'll buy him. And here's something about that that's important. Yes, we all know that Kaido skips leg day. But did you notice that Kaido moved incredibly quickly? We see him getting up. We see him kind of getting up. And then he's behind Luffy. He's already beyond Luffy when he's done that smashing attack. So not only is this guy big, he's fast. And that's an important thing to remember. Even though he does, the One Piece podcast is perfectly on point. He does look like baby legs. But those legs carry him very quickly. That's another kind of important thing that I think Oda was trying to convey through the artwork, is the speed of Kaido as well. He's not just tough. He's also freaking fast. Because he just takes Luffy. He just takes him out like nothing. Such a great scene. Mohammed, what is your thought on King having Impel Down logo on his clothes, in addition to a sword and wings? I don't know that he has the Impel Down logo. Did he? Did he have the logo there? If he did, I completely missed it. Yeah, he doesn't have an Impel Down logo. The logo of the Impel Down, at least as far as I know he has skulls there, and it's absolutely possible that he worked there. I think it's, who is it? Was it Saradesa? I think Saradesa had like a skull motif, right? Like they might have a skull motif. He very well may have worked at Impel Down. He might have been their interrogator. That's very possible. I mean, we all know that the Impel Down crew are these kind of like Nazi demons. That's basically what Impel Down is. It's like Nazi demon camp. It's a terrible, terrible place. That's what the Impel Down logo is roughly based on. If you look at films that were coming out at the time, some of the Grindhouse films from Tarantino and such, they had those kind of elements in them as well, and they could have heavily influenced some of the themes of the attire of the Impel Down crew. So yeah, this King here obviously looking very much like a member of Impel Down, but we don't see the actual Impel Down logo on him. Just allusions to such things as the skull logo, which is odd to me, that Oda would choose to have two characters among very prominent crews. Well, I guess, yeah. See, hasn't he replaced this? What's his name? Shiryu. Hasn't he replaced this logo? I'm pretty sure the armband there used to be the Impel Down logo. Let's pull that out, because this is just interesting for me. Where would that have been around? Let's see, around here. Would this have been around the time? Okay, there's Bentham imitating. There's Blackbeard making his way down. I think I'm just gonna miss it. Yeah, I just missed it. Darn it. Who's up? What do we got here? There's Jinbei doing his thing. Here he is. Yeah, so Shiryu has definitely changed his logo up. It used to be the ID symbol. It looked like a kind of like a pitchfork, but it was an ID for Impel Down. He has changed up that symbol for a skull. It didn't used to be that way for him. So it's not exactly the same as the Impel Down, but similar to Shiryu. King might have changed it up for that. But then again, why would Oda do that for two Yonkos, to have two former members of Impel Down? Where I guess it speaks to the ignorance of the world government hiring a crew or a group of individuals that are so unstable that they're willing to go to Yonko level crews. But I mean, I guess, you know, that's a statement in and of itself. But yeah, I don't know if he was. Let me put it this way: if in the very next chapter, it was revealed that, oh, yes, King worked for Impel Down. I'd be like, oh, no, of course he did. But at the same time, if Oda doesn't pursue that, it makes sense from Oda's perspective as well, just in terms of making a unique story that doesn't feel like it's going repetitive or in motions. As for the design, I love it. I love the wings. The fact that he's burning, and it's cool. I wonder if he's a three-eyed crow. That's a Japanese thing. Is the three-eyed crow or the three-foot crow? Three-eyed raven is probably whatchamacallit, Game of Thrones. I think Japan is like the three. Isn't that their soccer team logo? It's the three-legged crow. I think it's actually on their soccer uniforms. Anyway, we love the designs. And I love, most of all, Queen's mustache. That is just gorgeous. If that's what it is. Yeah, so hope that answers your question. Demon King Zoro. It's funny, see, I'm looking down, seeing some of your questions here, and that's exactly what I was writing about. For what? What was I writing about? I wrote that in, over in Arlen Park Forums. I was just writing about that very topic, Queen as an Okama. Anyway, I'm skipping ahead. Demon King Zoro asks, what do you think about Zoro in Wano? Which fight will he have? Do you think Zoro has King's Haki? This is something I've talked about in the past, and it would not surprise me if, as Luffy's right-hand man, Zoro was able to obtain King's Haki, or Haoshoku. Why? Because Rayleigh had it as well, and he was the right-hand man. At this point, it really doesn't surprise me who comes up having King. I don't know. I don't think it's you guys, but I think that maybe there's a group of people who are just, every time it's revealed that somebody has Haoshoku, people are just like, oh, somebody has Haoshoku. I'm just like, well, yeah. The statistics are such that, you know, everybody who has Haoshoku and can use it, we should probably know about this late in the story, because they're probably pretty tough. And where we are in the story, we're seeing a lot of really tough characters, like the strongest creature in the world, so it doesn't surprise me that we're seeing them. If everybody in a crew had it, that would be amazing, and that'd be a total, like, Oda thing to do. Like, every member of Blackbeard's crew has it. Boom! That would be impressive. That would be the one thing, I think, regarding Haoshoku that could surprise me, is if every member of a crew had it. And by that I mean the main central captains, or, you know, something like that. I don't mean the mooks having it. But go back to your question. Which fight will he have? You know, I kind of want it to be Jack, but I feel that if it's Jack, that kind of solidifies the idea that we won't be getting one-on-ones. And therefore, I don't want it to be Jack, because I feel very much that it's the Mink's place to kind of take down Jack. So if Zoro is involved in the battle against Jack, that would mean that the Minks would be involved too, which means thereby it wouldn't be a one-on-one. But Greg, of course Zoro isn't going to fight him. He always fights the toughest. Yeah, completely agree. I am of the belief that he will probably fight. Damn, it's hard to say if he'll even do like a king or queen, because of all the samurai involved. It seems, unless, I mean, I know they have swords. I know King has a sword, and he has at least one, right? It's in the scabbard there. I don't remember the looking. Yeah, there he is. God, it reminds me of Wado Ichimonji. That's so weird. I don't know. I think it'd be appropriate if he fought King, if we're going kind of by the levels that we have thus far. But I would really love for King to represent something more about Wano. You know what I kind of mean there? Like, I really want to see Mr. Bushido fighting another representative of Wano. So does King originally come from Wano? King probably isn't his name if we're going by the Doflamingo and the fact that, yeah, he used code names, so these are probably code names as well. I would like for him to fight him. I don't know if that's going to happen. I mean, the wings are definitely a nice addition. If those are actual working wings, then Zoro versus Flight would be cool. That would be a nice twist on it. Yeah. I mean, my uneducated, I want to see this happen as something really cool would be King. Part of me also wants to see him fight Jack just because of the sword connection. But we've already seen that a samurai can do significant damage to Jack, so that kind of takes the tension out of that. But I'd love to see Zoro in a samurai versus samurai Bushido kind of Bushido. What's the name of that? Bushido Blade. Is that it? Bushido Blade, the name of that game. I'd love to see him in that kind of battle in this arc, and I don't know if King will offer him that unless he strips down, unless King takes off all this material and we see him finally, with this muscle top and these tight bottoms on. The two of them going head to head with swords, that would be very cool in some kind of fiery location. And yeah, again, long-winded answer to a simple question. Looking down at Christian, do you think Queen is an Okama? I certainly do. I think the biggest hint is the, more than the sunglasses, is the lipstick. Fanboy Sins. Yeah, I was curious about that dodging attack from someone who sees future should have been hard, but I guess Kaido is really, really fast. That 70s junkie. Shiryu has those skulls too. You can check it earlier in the chapter, but yeah, it's not the... There we go. All right, we kind of settled that. Fanboy Sins, because Queen looks great. Absolutely does. Audio echoing for anyone else? Yes, hopefully it's gotten better by now. Moving down, echo is gone. Yeah, guys, if you tell me, if you're joining in or just joining and you experience the echo, it comes in periodically. I think it's every maybe 10-15 minutes or so, an echo starts. I don't know how long it lasts. I've never heard it myself because I haven't listened to the videos. I apologize for it. Maybe I'm echoing right now. But that's just my sound system. I apologize for it. Let's move on. Said Regina, do you have any theories on Blackbeard's bounty? Why? What is this? See, I haven't even thought about the number in Western terms yet. There's thousands, millions, 2,247,600,000. So why is it that number? I have not looked into it at all. Let's read the rest of your question here. They discussed some theories yesterday on the podcast, but it seems to be a mystery also for Japanese speakers. Yeah, I've probably missed the past 3 or so years of bounty jokes or bounty gags. Just because if I read them and I don't play with the numbers and I don't immediately get it, I just kind of move on at this point because I don't have... Somebody out there is going to figure it out. I used to spend hours trying to, figure out theories. I'm sure Steven does a lot of searching himself, trying to figure out what these meant, and I can't afford that kind of time anymore. I'm writing actual articles about the series, and like if my point is to do an article about them, sure, I'll spend time on it. But like if in a chapter like 925 where there's so much going on and I want to cover a lot of things, I'm not going to spend a lot of time going over the bounties, specifically the bounties. There are some other details or background hidden messages I might spend a good amount of time researching, but bounties I don't really look into more, just because I know that somebody's going to come up with it eventually. So actually, you guys, you might know some more bounties than even I do at this point. I have not considered many, if at any, of the Big Mom, or the Totland bounties. So no, I have not thought about that. I have not researched it. What is it? Nishinaro from the west. Nini. Niniona, Funa, Futa, Futashinaro, Futatsu. Two. There could be something with two. Two devil fruits, two something. 247. Nishinanaro, Nanaro, 76. 22, 2476. Yeah, this is the first time I've even thought about it. And you can come up with some ideas. Charlie, what's up, Charlie? Thanks for your old Scotty. Shell. Roger Bay said in his videos that it was the same bounty in yen as the real Blackbeard. Okay, so is that the idea? Is that it was if you convert Blackbeard's bounty to yen, is it the same? Let's see. What was Blackbeard's bounty? Hooah! That seems like an Oda thing to do. What was Blackbeard the Pirate's bounty? I don't have series, sorry folks.
Blackbeard's head was mounted on the bowsprit of the adventure, as it was needed for proof that the pirate was dead in order to collect a sizable bounty.
Thank you for the sizable bounty, but how much was that sizable bounty? Derp derp. Privateer and Queen Anne's War. Here's Blackbeard. Blackbeard's Last Stand. Let's do a search on this page for bounty. Find in page. And bounty. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper. Does anybody even know that? Do they use that tune anymore? That jingle? Yeah, so of course, because Blackbeard coming back into the series, everything I search for now is going to be related to our favorite manga here. Find in page. I'm on the Wikipedia now. Bounty. Alright. So yeah, that's something definitely to look into. I don't know if anybody can confirm that while I'm here jabbering away, but that sounds like something that Oda would do. It sounds playful enough to be him. 924. Awesome chapter. Yes, it is indeed. Ace PDL says, oh snap! You have that Luffy up there. Yes, I do. Here he is. Ta-da! There you are. I got a bunch of them. This is our Luffy that we designed. And there I am. Hey, that's me. Now you got two of me. Whee! Yeah. We got the Ace coming up. Excited about the Ace next year. Looks really cool. And fun. I love Banpresto toys. Man, I love how they're able to do details and texturing on the clothing material. What do I have? Look at this. This is cool. What do we got here? I have it all sealed up, so I can't pull it out. But let's see if you can read this. POP Limited Edition Kabuki Cyan. It's the limited edition Kabuki Luffy. I can't wait to open this someday. Whenever we get our own place, I'm gonna get an awesome One Piece room, and or at least a hobby room. Set that up there. Have some fun doing that. All right, Mohammed. But shouldn't conquerors haki be for those who don't follow anyone? Because no one in the Marines has conquerors because they follow orders. We don't know that. We don't know that for certain. I would bet that somebody like Kuzan might have it. I mean, has it ever been stated that nobody in the Marines has it? What they need is, I don't know if it has anything to do with following orders. I think it's more of people who have literally ambition. I mean, haki literally means ambition. I mean, that's what we used to call it in the fan groups. We used to call it ambition, ambition, ambition. he has ambition of this, ambition of that. You should just call it not these colors or things. And I think some time has passed since then. But Silver's rarely had it. I mean, people who you would expect to have it, have it. Zoro, you could actually make the case for Zoro having it because he declares to Luffy right when he, well, I mean, yes, he did join the crew, but I mean, he joins with a caveat that, if you ever let me down, he's like, I'll leave. He's like, I won't be here anymore. So, I mean, he's delivering his own rules to Luffy, his own circumstances for joining. He also, I think he threatens later when Usopp tries to come back. He's like, if you don't handle this right, he's like, then I'm out. I'm not following, weak people. So I think he makes his own way enough to be strong enough to have it. If he's been blessed with the natural ability of having it. I think there's a strong enough case for Zoro to have it. It wouldn't, let me put it this way, it wouldn't surprise me if he did. I wouldn't come out, I mean, I'd be happy for him. I'd be like, yeah, he did it, great. That's for sure, but I expect him to get it by virtue of who he is in relationship to Luffy. Maybe I'm echoing again, I'm getting some, whatever. That 70s Junkie. I love Queen's arm. I feel like we haven't seen many characters with thick arms like that. Well, I mean, it's how did I describe it? It's Queen is like an Okama Kung Fu Obelix. Asterix and Obelix. He's like an Okama Kung Fu Obelix. He looks like to me that came from Fist of the North Star. That's what I feel like that Queen is like. Polyglot Charlie asks, highlight of the chapter for you. Just joined the chat. Highlight of the chapter. Boy, that's gotta be Blackbeard. It's either Blackbeard or going right back to Wano. Just the idea of going straight back to Wano in that chapter. What a move by Oda. That's so cool that he did that. Everybody got something that they wanted out of this chapter. That's impressive. I don't know, maybe some people had some really far out ideas, but I mean, you got everything. People wanted to see what was going on to the Reverie. We didn't go there, but we got some information about what is happening there now. We got information on Dracula Mihawk. We got an update on Blackbeard's crew members, some that we haven't seen yet. Oh my god. Obviously, you all know there's lots going on here, but oh, is this the chapter that? No, it isn't. Okay. Thinking ahead of myself here. Yeah. I mean, the King and Queen reveals are great. But I think going back to Wano or the Blackbeard reveal is so cool. Yeah, probably Blackbeard. There's some people, some friends I have that I know are like super Blackbeard fans. They must have just lost their stuff, because I think also one of the Alina from Russia, I believe. Alina is also, she's like a Devon fan. She's a Blackbeard and a Devon fan, so she was like, I think, over the moon. But yeah, let's see. Moving right along. Christian, if Zoro 1 vs. 1 is king, does that mean that Zoro was stronger than Luffy in Fishman Island? Complicated question. Simple question, complicated answer. Zoro's a toughie. I mean, here's where it gets tough. What kind of strength are we talking about? Hockey ability, the ability to punch, the ability to beat an opponent. I don't know. I mean, he hurt Hody pretty badly. But then again, Luffy took out Hody with, for Luffy, relative ease. See, I don't want to throw that theory aside. I personally believe that from Oda's perspective, Luffy should always be the strongest. And I know there are a lot of people that feel passionately about the fact that Zoro should be stronger. I don't want to put down any of your theories. But I believe that when Oda is writing, he always believes that Luffy should be, in some form or another, the strongest member of that crew. If he wasn't, I don't know if Zoro would follow him unless Zoro has... I mean, Zoro does have that level of dedication to him. I mean, on a personal level. It has nothing to do with pride. He just has a personal devotion to Luffy. His position aside. And that's what's key there. Is his position aside. He feels a devotion to Luffy because of his position in the crew, but also on a personal level as well, which as we've seen. So, would he leave the crew if Luffy wasn't stronger? Does he have that level of devotion? I think he does. But what I think is nothing compared to what Oda believes on that matter, which is probably that Luffy should always be the strongest. Yeah, I'm going to go with that and say no. But if it turned out that Zoro was stronger, I mean physically, let's say stronger than Luffy on Fishman Island, that would surprise me. AK Pirate Prince, woo, stream I can finally attend. Alright, good to have you. Christopher Hirowati, how long do you think this arc is going to go for? I didn't mind the length of Dressrosa, and I'm hoping that this arc will go as long or even longer to give the arc a weightier feel. It's moving right along, isn't it? I think we're going to have 3 acts to this. That would seem to make sense. We have a 3-act story, which means one more skip out to see what's going on in the rest of the world, and then one skip back to see what's wrapping up. I wonder, is this second act? It depends what this second act is going to be. Is it going to be a prison break? Is Luffy going to get the prison people on his side? Is he going to make enemies with them? Is he going to be tortured? Will his spirit break? Luffy's spirit will never break. I mean, if it does break, it should break at the end of the story, right? The end of the final battle. That would be a cool moment. Just because he's so tough after it broke with Ace, I don't think he could reach that level of despair again, unless he lost the crew, and losing the crew would be huge for him. And I think it should happen at the end of the whatever his biggest story arc is at the end of this series. So, what was I even talking about? How long do I think this arc is going to go for? So yeah, what would happen? What would be the goal for the second part of this? I guess the goal for the second part of Wano would be getting all of our players in line. We have our crew is separated. They have different goals. And this should be getting the gang back together. And I think Oda could do this relatively speedily. I don't even know if it would last as long as the first act. I could be completely wrong about this, but if it is getting the characters together, I think he should be able to do that quite quickly. Let's just say I won't be shocked if not certainly next week, but if early next year, saying like January or February, we wrap up this second part. I don't know if maybe he'll even close out the year that way. That seems like such a him thing to do, to close out the year that way. And I mean our year, 2018. Because yeah, it just seems like something he would do. It seems like an Oda thing to put us at a big cliffhanger right when we're at the end of the year and there's a 2-week wait. He does that on purpose sometimes. He's a major troller that way, in the best of ways. And I wonder if he could wrap it up that quickly. And then I think a rather lengthy third act. The third act would be more of what we're used to in the series so far. And how long could that go? I don't know. Depends what he does, guys. If he does those one-on-ones, then man, we're in for the long run. If he doesn't, if we're in for more crew versus crew kind of battles, then I don't know. Because Dressrosa, despite Dressrosa being story heavy, the actual fights were nothing. The actual fights were done. There were just a lot of them that he had to wrap up because Don Quixote's family was so large. So yeah, I don't know. Originally, I thought 2 years, and I think at this point that still makes sense from the story he's telling so far. But let's see how long Act 2 is. Why don't we go with that first? Let's see how long that is. And when we see what his goal with Act 2 is, I think we can get a bigger picture of what he wants to accomplish in the story later on, in further acts. So, good question. Charlie, just curious, what website are you using to find Blackbeard's bounty? What did I use very quickly? I just used what Google told me and Wikipedia. That's all. Oh, I did tell you apparently. Okay. AK Power Prince, calling it Kobe has conquerors. Would Kobe have conquerors hockey? It would be cool if he did, but I don't know if he would just because of how sensitive to voices that he is. Completely see Kobe being, head of the Marines, etc., but an admiral, but just because of how sensitive to voices he is, I don't know if he would specialize in Haoshoku. That's if, again, this is going on how little we know of hockey so far. We hear that everybody specializes in one of them, and if you have Haoshoku, that means that you specialize in that. But we don't know if there are any exceptions to that yet. Which is why, we know that Zoro excels at Busolshoku. Busolshoku is colors of armament. We know that he excels at that, but is it possible to also have Conqueror's Haki? Again, we don't know. At this point, we're not supposed to know, because we're not being told, and therefore Oda wants to surprise us. And if he wants to surprise us, that means he's withholding information for a reason. Which suggests that, yeah, there's more to it than we already know. My God, there are a lot of comments now. Fanboy Sins. Is it a good idea to keep Kid in the area full of industrial metal? With those sea stone chains on? Yeah, no problem. I don't think it's a huge issue. Again, powers aren't disabled, but they are weakened. We'll see. Let's just see what kind of state they're in. I'm interested in how those two are going to interact with each other. Twill for the win. Hey Greg, what are you expecting to happen in the second act of Wano? How long do you think this arc will last? We kind of addressed that, Twill, so if you don't mind, if you're still with us, I'd like that to kind of be the answer to that. Wolfwood, is this the same Wolfwood from Arlong Park? Greg, one more question. Do you think Eno will have his comeback in the series? Absolutely. No question. Yes. Nectar. Hey Greg, is Moria joining Team Blackbeard, and is Moria going to Wano? This is a good question. This is another one that I recently fielded over at Arlong Park. Okay. Moria's addition to the story feels somewhat like Oda thought that it would be a good time to reintroduce Moria. It doesn't feel like he had a major story point that he needs to use him for. It feels like Oda looked at where the story was, how he wanted to surprise readers, and what he could possibly use as ammunition down the line in terms of characters getting stuff done. Getting I call them the Frankie families, the people who were kind of the mobs, the people who just rush in and they take care of a problem whenever Oda needs them to. So is he establishing Moria as something for Blackbeard? Is he going to be under Blackbeard's thumb? He could easily be that, but I get the impression that instead of having a complex theory for it, Oda looked at the themes in the story. He looked at what he set up with Moria mentioning about Kaido and showing him the true hell of the Grand Line and such. And I think he thought, okay, good, cool. Maybe I'll use Moria here. And I think maybe even Oda himself is trying to figure out what, if anything, he'll do with Moria at this point in the story. He may have a bigger idea down the line for Moria, but I think Oda's working out some ideas for how to use him proper. I don't know why, but I get that feeling. It's completely possible that I'm entirely wrong, and Oda's like, yeah, I've been planning to use Moria to as something to help out in the Kaido arc for the entire story of One Piece. But the only reason I don't see him going to Wano is, and this is the only reason I don't see him going to Wano. It makes perfect sense why Moria would want to go to Wano to deal with Kaido unless he has a traumatic issue with him. It makes sense why he wouldn't go to me because, again, playing my own devil's advocate, Luffy's group seems really OP. Does it seem that way to anybody else? I know that Kaido has numbers on his side, but I mean, samurai aside, completely put them to the side. We're gonna have a fight in a full moon. You're gonna have crazy Sulong flying left and right. Look what one of them was able to do. One of them was able to even make Mom's forces kind of like gasp. We're gonna have multiple Sulongs fighting here. Oda really has to put the crunch on everybody. I'm not talking about how things seem right now. Things seem right now in kind of dire straits. Luffy is captured. The headliners are seemingly all against them. But think about it when all of the pieces are lined up. Drake, we don't know what Drake and Kaido's deal is, but to me it seems that Drake hates Kaido because Drake loved pirates as a child. We know this. He akogare, they say in Japanese. He akogare for, he looked up to, wanted to be, yearned for being. Did I say pirates? I meant Marines. If I said pirates, I meant Marines. He yearned to be a Marine, and all of a sudden, the next time we've seen him chronologically is he's under the thumb of his father, his drunken partying father, who is still a Marine, and is abusing his son, using and abusing him, and on this poor island, and he runs off, this poor kid, and yet he continues to join the Marines. Why? I think it's because Kaido probably messed up Drake's father's life. He probably screwed him up, and that's why that's why Barrels became such a crappy Marine. Maybe even Drake's parents, both of them, were Marines, and Kaido might have killed his mother. Maybe he killed his mother on a raid. Maybe he was getting revenge against Barrels. I don't know, but maybe that's. Does he have his scar? No way. Does Drake have his scar? Where's that damn flashback? would be the latter half of it here. Burning Island, destruction, death. Okay, typical One Piece flashback. Sadness. Blah blah blah. There's Don Quixote. He's in the chest. This is the most exciting part of the live stream, by the way. Watching me piece together these things that I've read only once. Where is Drake? Drake's got beat. Are we on the island yet? Come on. You guys have probably answered this 50 times over in the chat. I swear. Okay, we're on the island. He's calling for the boy. Boy. Some of you have answered. I'm going to give this 10 more seconds. And if I cannot find it, I'm going down to the chat because some of you have most certainly answered this by now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that's it. Alright, who answered it? Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah, blah. He does have the scar. Good. Alright. He does have the scar. Who gets the shiny coin there? Fanboy Sins. And Nightcrawler, chapter 767, Drake has the scar. Good. Alright. So, and let me, since I'm down here, bring up the point. Ham's a grind. Drake said that he doesn't care about his father when Dofi was taken out. That's my point. I'm not saying that he cares about his father. I'm sure he hates his father. Because I'm going to guess that Drake was injured by Kaido in an attack due to his father's actions as a Marine. In that attack, his mother was killed and he was injured. And because his wife was killed, from that point on, Drake's father became a wreck. So, yeah, like, I'm not saying that he cared about the father. I'm saying that he cares about Kaido. He doesn't like Kaido. So, what was my whole point here? Let me get back to my point. My whole point was the overpowering of Luffy's crew, right? And you have all these headliners. You have Drake. You have Hawkins. You have seemingly Apu. And he seems to be trying to break Luffy and Kid. All of these people, really the only wild card is Apu. Apu might have been working for Kaido. We still don't know that for sure. I don't think he was, you know. But it's something just hasn't been confirmed, at least as far as I know. I don't believe we know that for certain. I know that it appears that way, but again, in the business, you always got to be careful what has been clearly stated or not. And all of them seem ready to turn on Kaido if they see a weakness. So you got all of them, you've got the samurai, you've got the Sulong, and you have the Straw Hats. So what does that say about bringing Moria into this? If Moria came into this story, he would be he would help our protagonist. He would help against Kaido. I'm not saying he would want to help Luffy. I'm saying that if, he showed up, he would want to battle against Kaido, which would in turn help Luffy and his cause. So at this point, because of how strong Luffy is and his crew, I want to see something besides numbers that shows me how tough Kaido and his gang really are. Not only him, but the Shogun as well. And that plays a big part of it too. How big is the Shogun's team? Does that snake neck yokai lady, does she play some sort of part in all of this? Will she be a villain a villainess for somebody. That's all part of it. I want to see something from Kaido's side that shows me overwhelming strength as a group. We know that Kaido is crazy sick, but we've seen a scene where a super tough samurai, who should be super tough, is able to kind of take Jack by surprise. That's one of the top 3, folks. The other 2 speak down to Jack, and that's good. They should be. You know, if you're going, we knew that it was going to be Jack, Queen, King. If you're going that order, then they should be far superior. But that's just 3 guys. I want to see... I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm saying I want some proof that, as a group, Kaido's forces need somebody like Moria to come in with another group and fight against it. Again, that's where the Big Mom issue comes in, and that's... Woo! That is complicated. Because that's another thing. I think Mom is basically filling that role. If Mom is going to work against Kaido, is going to work with Kaido, that instantly puts them up there. Because Kaido owes her that favor. But in the same vein, they're pirates. They're backstabbing pirates. And the second he pays her back, she could completely stab him in the back, which makes her kind of a wild card if she's going to show up in the arc. So, again, do I see Moria going? It depends if he's necessary or not from a story perspective. All right? Thank you, Nectar. All right. Tony B says, doesn't it look like one of Queen's arms is mechanical from wrist to forearm, left arm? It looks like a number of things. To me, it looked mechanical, but people are like, oh no, that's just him because he's disassembling Kid's arm or something like that. Okay, whatever. Like, I don't know why Oda would choose to display him that way. But to me, it looked mechanical. Maybe it isn't, but that's how it appeared to me. Trade Fleet 96. What do you think will become of the Warlords if the world government goes through with abolishing the system? Let's see. Weevil is a wild card. Buggy is a wild card who would eventually do the right thing, not by heart, but by necessity. Hancock, need I say more? Who else do we have? Who's up there? Mihawk. Mihawk would do the quote unquote right thing. Who's left? Who's left? Are all the spaces even filled anymore? It's been a while since I've thought about the group of them. Where is our? What was it, 70 or so? Where is it? What's the start? Where's that Marineford? Where they list them all? I don't think... Yeah, you're going to get a lot of people who are just either helping out Luffy or wild cards. And I think maybe the biggest wild card at this point is Weevil. Which makes you question, how tough is this guy? I mean, we get the point that he's supposed to be able to take out a Whitebeard crew, so he's freaking tough. But, against all of these massive forces that we're seeing come together, I don't know. That's why I've lost a great deal of hype for anything related. Here we go. Kuma. But see, yeah, this is another thing. Like Kuma, where does Kuma even stand now? I don't get where he's even supposed to be. Yeah, all it does is what it does is it releases Weevil. It puts him back as an enemy of everyone. And how tough is Weevil? Jacob Mallory. At this time of year, I always want to read that. Jacob Marley. What flashback are you looking forward to most in Wano? I guess the Oden one. I mean, that's made... Even Luffy was interested in it, so it's got to be good, right? I mean, we know the reason Luffy was interested in it because he finds the stories of the samurai interesting, which is kind of telling us what Oda finds interesting as well. You know, Oda finds samurai stories and Jidaigeki kind of things interesting. Again, Oda is Luffy completely. So yeah, I guess the Oden story is what I'm looking forward to. Jay, what's up? Conf Kex. Hope everyone has a good day today. Greg, I wonder which color spread is your favorite one. I've gone over this a couple times, but let's see. Can I find it quickly here? I think it's in 3. It's either in 3 or 4. You know what? I don't want to show you this because I might. You guys are going to like this. Yeah, it's in 4. I might upload this. I might just leave this on YouTube because I'm trying very carefully not to show you the insides of manga very directly. So, yeah, I don't think I can show you. But it is the color spread where they're going through a jungle and there's a tiger and Robin is kind of looking back at you. And I think Luffy riding the tiger or something? Or is he standing on a pedestal? Maybe he's riding the tiger. And there's sun streaming down. That is my favorite color spread. Just because it's very different from a lot of the color spreads we'd seen to that point. Stylistically, or I guess, you know, hidden objects or like the story it tells, it's not my favorite. But just overall, that was a color spread I saw and was like, wow, this is completely new and different. Wow. So that's why it's my favorite. Alright. Mega Cubic, hello. Mecha Shiva. Christian says, do you think there will be 3 emperors in Wano making this Kaido's dream war? 3. I mean, I've long been ringing the bell of Blackbeard coming in to kill Kaido. We have 2 weeks, right? Maybe a week now until all this. So there's ample time for people to move around. In this section. So Fanboy, how quickly would Luffy break if Queen started torturing any Straw Hat in front of him? I don't think Luffy would break. What would happen? I think Luffy would probably kill himself trying to get free. That might happen. If he believes that he can get free. If he doesn't believe that he can get free, which is a very specific set of circumstances. I mean, this Luffy we're talking about, he might break. But Luffy has to believe that he has no chance of getting free. This is the man who was willing to tear his arms off to get out of a prison. So, yeah. I don't think he would break that easily. And he'd have to be at the end of his rope. He'd have to be as despairing as when Ace died. Christian says, why not 5 acts like a Kabuki play? Could be. Could be, but 3, I don't know, seems to be a good number to polish it off. It just seems like a lot of going back and forth. It sounds very busy if it's 5. It absolutely could be, but I think 3 might do it. Mega Cubic, what role do you think Big Mom plays in Wano? Oh, I didn't want that question. It's a good question, but it's a complicated answer. Again, people like to say, no, it's too crowded for Big Mom. It's not too crowded for Big Mom, but here's the problem with Big Mom going to Wano. If she goes to Wano and she fails again, it makes her look inadequate. It makes her look poor because those are 2 losses. Luffy has beaten, quote-unquote, Big Mom once already by escaping her impossible-to-escape Totland. If he escapes her grasps again, then she looks really bad. Like right now it's like, oh, Luffy's kind of the upstart. But if she escapes again, or if he escapes her again, ooh, that takes her cred down in my eyes, let alone the eyes of the world. So I'm afraid that if she came to Wano legitimately, full force, with all of her family, all of her fighting family, that it doesn't leave any room for her at a place like Elbaf. And I really want to believe that there's a place for her at Elbaf because of Chekhov's giant. We have the giant who saw what happened that day, that fateful day of the birthday party. So it seems that that giant knows something that is a key to Big Mom, to awakening something in Big Mom, to letting her know something. You know, that's why it seems she has a role to play there. Is it as an antagonist or as somebody who helps our protagonist? That's a good question. But if it is an antagonist, it seems like such a good place to bring up Streisand, because he's literally the reason that, you know, the rift was caused between them. I believe that Big Mom's dream will come true and she will accomplish it, but not by the means that she wants to. Which means that she needs to be on good terms with the giants. And for her to be on good terms with the giants, they need to mend their ways. And the best way to do that would be for them to appear at Elbaf. And I don't see her as the type who's just going to rock up to Elbaf, like make friends with Luffy at Wano, and then like, hey, let's go to Elbaf. No, I mean, if she shows up at Wano full force, and again, I'm saying, adding the caveat of full force, she has everybody with her, and she loses. If she follows them to Elbaf them as an enemy, which I would think that she would have to be at Elbaf, she just seems weak, incapable, and I don't want to see her that way. That doesn't mean I don't think she'll appear at Wano. I mean, they obviously have some unfinished business, Kaido and Big Mom. But I don't know if she's going to appear the way we think she is, with all of her fleet. If she does, great, but Oda better have a hell of an explanation for how Luffy and team get away from her. Which he could. If Blackbeard shows up, as I've been banging the Blackbeard shows up and kills Kaido drum forever. If he does, and then if the world government gets involved, woo, because of something in Reverie, that makes it plausible for Mom to be detained. But again, you've got this like, I'll get you next time, catch it next time kind of vibe to her, and I'm not crazy about that. I mean, even Buggy, that's exactly why. It's something that you reserve for a character like Buggy, who comes back again and again and again and again. It's like, I'll get you, and then even Buggy has given up. I mean, his spark might have been reignited. I'll completely grant you that. But for Mom to just keep following them, I don't see that happening. No, I shouldn't say that. I don't know if Oda would do that to her. So I'm not saying she's not going to show up, but I am questioning if she's going to show up in full force or not. I think we'll see maybe some kind of presence there, but I don't know if she's all going to be there. Fanboy Sins, how quick would Luffy... we did that already. Blah, 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 blah. Newt GF, do you think we will see Beast Pirates in the bounty range of 350 to 750 million, not including Drake, Kapu, and Hawkins? I don't know. Bounties... I was talking about bounties earlier in the live stream, and how I don't look them up very much anymore. I used to put a lot of weight in them. I think Oda puts a lot of thinking into them as well, and they make perfect sense. But I don't know. They're just not that important to me. I look at how how can I put it? The Mook bounties aren't as important to me. Seeing Blackbeard's bounty has put me at ease almost in terms of what to expect from the rest of the series, from the rest of the characters. Should we expect Blackbeard's bounty to be kind of a newbie bounty? I certainly hope so. I certainly hope Mom's is far superior. And I hope that Kaido's makes that look like nothing. And I hope that Dragon's makes that look like nothing. So I really don't pay too much attention to the mooks anymore because anything below Luffy is just not important at this point. It sounds awful, but I don't really pay attention to them anymore unless they exceed Luffy. Because Luffy is kind of my... Luffy is I don't know. There he is. Look, I got him almost in my fingers. Luffy is like my litmus test for where everyone is and where everyone should be in relation to him. So yeah, when we got that number for Luffy, okay, great. Now I know where everybody should be. And if you're seeing, some of these people in the smaller bounties, it just it goes over my head. I don't follow it that much because I don't see them that much as a story point unless they're above Luffy at this point. It's kind of like, okay, all right, that's good to know. I guess you can make some fan debate about that, but I'm not interested in that as so much as I am in everyone in relation to Luffy. Is it lower than Luffy? Then he can probably take them out. Is it higher than Luffy? Ooh, why is it higher than Luffy? That's where my interest gets piqued right now. And Luffy, it's just where we are in the story. Luffy's so high right now that it's difficult to get someone up there. So, yeah, I'm kind of hoping that King or Queen are above that. That would be sweet. That'd be very cool. Moving right along. It's 9 o'clock, so I think I'm going to start my lightning round. If you're not familiar with the lightning round is just I go through questions and I answer them as fast as I possibly can, which still means that some of them might take 5 minutes to answer, but hey, that's what you're in for with a Greg live stream. All right, here we go. We're going to start with Jay. Oda revealed that Mihawk is still the best swordsman, so do you think Zoro has yet to beat him? That is his official title. I hate to ride this train into the ground, but as the world knows him as the strongest swordsman in the world, we still don't know if, on a personal level, he has lost. So I don't mean to be the denier. I saw, but that was the first place my eyes went as well, and I think that Oda could still be holding something back. I'm not gonna say that I absolutely believe at this point that Zoro has yet to beat him. I'm not gonna absolutely say that Zoro has yet to beat him, but I still hold on to that Oda is being particular and vague by not telling us exactly what happened during those 2 years. Fanboy Sins, Kobe will get Kizaru's devil fruit after Wano. Thinking that things aren't going to turn out for Kizaru too well then, eh? Charlie, if any, how many new Nakama do you guess Luffy will add to his crew in this arc, and who will they be? Arigato, buddy. My guess, you know what? I probably shouldn't talk about that particular topic, so I will avoid it. I've avoided it to this point, just because #reasons. Sorry, man. Professional reasons. Wolfwood, no, I'm a different person. Oh, you are a different person. Okay, I'm probably going to ask you that like 20 more times, man. I apologize until I get it straight in my head. I'm crazy. Twill FTW. Do you think pudding was intended as a reference to launch from Dragon Ball? For example, split personality, third eye in reference to Tien. The person they love doesn't remember them. Is it somewhere in there in terms of inspiration? Maybe in like developing the character, but was it a major source of inspiration? I don't know. I mean, a lot of her actions are there. The actions, like she would get the machine gun out. That's all there. And maybe Oda was like, oh wow, this reminds me of her. But I don't know if she was made as like a homage character, like he's done at times. That is a good point. There are definitely parallels. The third eye, I would say, I don't know if that's a direct reference, though. I think that's a bit too strong. Tom James, hi Greg. Are you at all disappointed that it seems Oda may off-screen the Reverie like he did for the battle at the Revolutionary Army base? No, not at all. That doesn't bother me. The Revolutionary Army base didn't bother me. If it's important to the story and what we need to see, then he will show it. Seeing those would have almost been spoilery. I mean, you'd see characters doing things that he doesn't want us to see yet for #reasons. So I accept those absolutely fine. I wouldn't mind that at all. In fact, I think his off-screening of the Reverie is on purpose this time, to make sure that we don't know what's going on in the world, so that we're in the same case as the Straw Hats. We're experiencing the Reverie the same way the Straw Hats are. In fact, we have more information than the Straw Hats have because that newspaper was cut up, right? So they don't have that information even since then. So yeah, we actually have a little bit more than they do. And which is why I think Oda's going to surprise us. He's going to be like, oh, you guys think you know what's going on at the Reverie? Wait till you see this. And he brings in and, I don't know, everything's... The Reverie comes to Wano. I don't know, something insane, you know? Maybe Blackbeard does fulfill his task of destroying Reverie. If people still want to subscribe to that. I am moving away from that just because of how lackadaisical he seems. He just seems like hanging out. But again, is that a red herring? Is he going to start moving, directly to Reverie very soon? Who knows? He's a chaotic character, so whatever he does, he might just come up with an idea on the spot. That's him. Right, moving along as fast as I can. Any thoughts on our favorite fish called fighting Jack or Inuarashi and Nekomamushi getting a rematch, but this time they fight together after resolving their differences? Yeah, I talked about that at the top of this, and I do see the Mink getting their revenge on Jack. Wolfwood, I really wonder what role Caribou will play in Wano. I would expect us to see Caribou. Yeah, I expect us to see Caribou. Tyler says it's 6 a.m. He does have the scar. Oh, we're getting questions now about when I was asking about the Drake scar. Whoa, my God! There are a lot of questions. Holy jeez. Okay, I gotta... Eddie Ansel, were you ever a believer in a theory that Kinemon had the 9-tail fox fruit? Do you... quick answer to that is... did I ever believe that? Because he was a kitsune. And he looks kind of like a kitsune. I don't think so... But I was no, not at all. No, because I thought if yeah, because he has the changing fruit. He has the leaf thing, and that leaf thing, that's like a tanuki thing to do. Do you think the time travel can mess up with fruits and maybe create 2 users of the same fruit? I think the 2 users of the same fruit are possible anyway, because we've already got Momonosuke and Kaido. That, of course, is if you subscribe to the idea that Kaido is, in fact, originally a human. But that would then suggest that, yes, 2 fruit users of the same fruit type can exist at the same time due to a copy. Not a perfect copy, but a very similar copy. Do you think we'll see Buggy soon? Do I want to? Yes. Do I think we'll see him soon? When did Oda last tease him? He last teased him a while ago, right? When the Giants quit, right? I forget if there was anything after that. Do we think if we're heading to Captain Jack's treasure, maybe, but I don't think we'll see him soon. And that is to say, I don't think we'll see him in Wano. It would be cool if we did. I would be surprised if we did. Hamza Grind, is Buggy the next trade with Kaido? That would be interesting. That would be. That's dark though for Buggy. That'd be interesting, but that'd be a dark turn for him. Maybe it'd be Krieg or Kudo. Bonnie has the biggest question mark of all the supernovas, in my opinion. Bonnie is an interesting one indeed. Fatboy sends in his childhood picture-a-thon where Drake is happy with marine hat on. There is no scar. Right, exactly. That's exactly my point, fanboy, is that he doesn't have a scar when he's a child. Before things went south. Wolfwood, also Caribou is kind of a wild card. I really wonder what his role will be in Wano. Caribou will save his own skin. So Caribou will do whatever's best for Caribou. He does have that sign of kindness, and so he might do something akin to that in the arc. But Caribou, I don't think Caribou is much as a wild card, because you can read whatever situation he'll go into. He'll try to save himself, however best in that situation. So it's an easier way to read him, as opposed to someone like Weevil, who is controlled by someone. And what happens when that control is gone? What would happen then? We don't know. How do you think Blackbeard gets all? How do you think it's all? Who or how? He knows about the events of the Reverie and even Luffy being caught. What would be a good source of information? He could have those incredibly rare transmission interceptor Dendemushi, the ones that like can pick up signals and things. You could have them. If not an informant, or if maybe he tortured Absalom even. That's a possibility. Hamza Grind, your thoughts on the Mihawk Vivre card and his rivalry with Shanks? I'm pretty sure the Mihawk Vivre card is in one of these things. That... Is he in here? In one of these things that I haven't opened yet. They're right here. So I haven't even looked at the Vivre card. I've been super busy, folks. I haven't looked at that yet. We'll check it out when I get a chance. Jay Thacker, seeing how Oda subtly repeats his arc stories, do you think Sabo will get captured and Luffy finds out about it after Wano Elbaf and goes to rescue him, this time with the Straw Hats, kind of a repeat of Impel Down? Sabo is a really strong story element in that he can, his whereabouts can control Luffy, and I don't know if Luffy would say the same thing again. Like with Ace, he was like, Ace no Bokengaru. Ace has his own adventure. Even when Ace was captured, he's like, Ace has his adventure. If Sabo gets captured and tortured and his life is in danger, then and that Luffy catches wind of this, then it's possible that he would attempt to go help him at that point, considering what happened to Ace. But this is another thing, like with that mom theory I was discussing, how Oda utilizes mom and how he makes her a threat to us. Would Oda feel comfortable repeating that same thread? A thread that large? I mean, characters like Luffy getting detained, Nami getting detained, characters from the crew getting detained, that's something that kind of has to happen because they're our crew, and it is Oda's job to detain them. But when you have kind of the characters who control the motions of where our main crew are, if he starts reusing that and reusing the same story for that to move the crew as a whole, that's where things get a little bit sloppy, and you get a little bit of fan fatigue, especially after 20 years of writing this story and kind of want to see new things, which creates a lot of pressure for the author. But I think Oda's more than up to the task. New GF Uruj on Elbaf, since he has the perfect devil fruit for fighting giants. I thought Uruj on Elbaf originally just because Mom. He has a bone to pick with Mom. But in that sense, Uruj can literally drop in from anywhere at any point if Mom is going to be a big part of the story. Then we will Ener on Elbaf as well. El Tur. Eddie Ansel, do you think Mihawk will keep being the lonely wanderer or join a crew? Maybe Shanks? No, because I think he's pretty... We don't know his story, we don't know his deal, but he seems pretty settled where he is and the position that he's in. I mean, we see him as one of the people, going into the 7 Warlords meeting. So he is obedient to that end. I'd like to see him not be obedient. That'd be interesting. What is he? What the hell would Mihawk's alignment be? What do you guys think? Marginal X11. Hey, Greg, don't you think Blackbeard will be the one to take Kaido's life, therefore his fruit as well? This way, Kaido gets what he wants to do, die, and BB gets... Marginal X, if you're a new listener, I have been saying that for several years now. I don't know how long it's been, but long followers of me have known that I've said that as well. However, I am altering my theory on what I think is possible for Blackbeard to have in terms of fruits, for reasons that I sort of hint at in my next column, 114, whenever that's released. It's talking about anime, it's not talking about the manga, but yeah, anyway, the Blackbeard thing, that's actually a theory that I'm the originator of, as far as I know. I'm one of the first people I know who came up with the theory that the coolest thing for Oda wants his enemies to be cool. So what I came up with years ago, this is, I think, even way before there was even Kaido. I thought the coolest thing that Oda could think of as a character would be a flying dragon who could cause earthquakes and make blackness, make darkness, control darkness. I think I came up with this around the time of Marineford, and he got that second power. I was like, all right, he's got a Logia, he's got a Paramecia, he's got those 3 skulls. What does he want? He wants the most powerful zone. What does Oda consider to be the coolest, most powerful thing? Well, you got to either go with Lion, or you got to go with Dragon. And I thought just the concept of a flying dragon who could accomplish all these things would be a great kind of villain for Luffy to kind of topple. So years ago, I came up with that idea. Then when we learned a little bit more about Kaido, that famous, what was it, chapter 698, I think, around that time is when I was like, okay, seems like Kaido is our dragon fellow. And he's going to be our dragon villain. So then is Blackbeard going to kill him and take his fruit? I think, and I have told, if you're a long-time listener, you know this. I have been saying for a long time that in order for Oda to make the most powerful villain, the final boss, so to speak, he needs to have a villain that takes out Kaido. Kaido is being set up to die. And it makes sense for Blackbeard to come in, say, kill him, steal his fruit ability, give it to one of his crew, because I'm altering my theories, my thoughts on Kaido getting 3 fruit abilities. But that's been out there for a long time. Whether he will show up here or not depends a lot on the power balance of who shows up to help Kaido. I think Blackbeard is one of the only options, realistic options, for delaying Big Mom if the Straw Hats are to get away and if Big Mom is to show up in full force in this arc. So, do I think Blackbeard will kill Kaido? I think that's still on the table. Do I think he'll steal his fruit for himself to digest? I don't know about that anymore. All right. Hamza Green, do you think we might meet Frankie's father in Wano since there is a factory of weapons? That's one of those things that's always possible if the story demands it. We're not going to meet his father just so Oda can say, hey, here's Frankie's father. It needs to have an important part of the story. And therefore, if Oda is setting up something important to tell about Frankie, then are we going to see something? I way more think that we're going to see something with Chopper. Because the miracle country that Hiruduk saw the Sakura in must have been Wano. Must have been Wano. So are we going to learn that, Hiruduk was actually, he was a mook on some pirate crew. He was some, no-namer on Kaido's crew even or something. And did he show up and was he just like, wow, this is beautiful. I need to get out of here. I need to change my life because I'm safe. I know he was going around trying to heal himself. But was he doing that while simultaneously being a pirate? That would be interesting to me. Aina Shie, what's the deal with the whole lurking legend thing? Is it something Oda said, or did I miss it in the series? Oda wrote it in a letter to fans at last year's Jump Festa, and he said that a lurking legend would appear during this year. Appear does not mean that they would actually show up it doesn't mean that they necessarily will show up in the story. It means that they'll be mentioned, they might show up. It just means that in some form they will appear. It doesn't mean they're actually going to come crashing into the story. It could, but it looks like we're seeing that won't be the case unless he surprises us at year end. But yes, it seems very much that what he was alluding to there was Rocks. Whatever Rocks is. Tyler, do you think Mihawk will die by Blackbeard pirates? If he hasn't already lost to them. If he hasn't already lost, then I think so. Then that's an interesting thought. If Mihawk is still indeed, truthfully, the greatest swordsman in the world, then is there a clash coming in which he will be killed? And in that event, I think that Oda would be willing to... would he kill him? I don't know if he could kill him. He could make him lose. But yeah, if there's a... Let's say... What? Ooh, how about this? Okay, here's a scenario. What if... all hell breaks loose at Reverie, which, as we know it is, and the Warlords are called in to deal with this threat at Reverie. Blackbeard catches wind of this and heads to the Reverie, and that is where Shiryu defeats Mihawk. Or, with things happening at the Reverie, see, I don't know the tie-in. Why would the world government... See, all of this is going to end with the opening of Wano. All right? And I don't know if that necessarily means this arc, but like it has to work towards that. If it does happen at the end of this arc, then you're going to want to see the world government in some capacity, be it Marines or otherwise, showing up at Wano. And with things being as busy as they are at the Reverie, I don't know why they would want to move from the Reverie to Wano unless they were chasing something, which is the entire reason why I believe that it makes perfect sense for Blackbeard to go to Reverie and mess up, seriously mess up the Reverie. Then he pieces out, gets what he wants, which could be related to that treasure. Who knows? We don't know. Heads over to Wano because he's a crazy nut, and thinks that he can take care of everybody because he believes in just a chance and fate. And if he shows up there with everybody chasing his tail, that makes sense for factions of the world government, if not Marines, then something else, to arrive there, to be brought there, to be compelled to go. And if he does, it would make sense for Mihawk to lose on a stage there. Because I would think if Mihawk's going to lose during the actual story, not during the time skip, Oda would want to show it to us. I want to believe that he'd show us that, but who knows. Either way, that does create a good scenario for Mihawk to lose during the story, if he hasn't already. So, yeah, alright. Interesting idea. 12 for the win. Would the thing that breaks Luffy be a member of the crew joining Kaido? Maybe Zoro because it's a samurai arc? I don't know about that. Whole kick, again, I'm trying to go as fast as I can, but some of these are really good questions that deserve some time. Whole kick Ion seemed like 80% luck plus plot and 20% skill. It really diminished quality of the arc for me. Without thinking about it and just shooting an answer from the hip, I'm going to say most of the arcs are like that because they arrive right when something big is happening in the town, on the island, wherever it is. They arrive during the climax of something, and they arrive in the middle of the war, right when this war is. It's a lot of luck, and that's just storytelling. They're in the right place, right time. I think most of it was balanced quite well. He set up a lot of stoppers. Mom knew that they were there. She knew that they were invading. They were fooled the entire time. And they had an in with Jinbei. They had an in. That makes perfect sense for them to be rescued. Jinbei had an in with the fishermen. So it makes sense that he was able to go in with the fishermen. The fishermen were able to go in and get rid of all the censors. What were they? The umiushi, the sea cow things, sea slugs, whatever they were. That makes sense, and that was a huge part of it, going around undetected. Germa is super powerful, so that made sense there. Yeah. I don't know. It makes sense to me. But again, a lot of it is luck because of the time they show up. They show up in the middle of something big, and that's just good storytelling. Nuchiev, Jonas in mythology is said to create giants or something. That Jonas being an Elbaf sounds quite possible, and Big Mom going there. Could be. Nectar, is there something special or punish about Blackbeard's specific bounty number in Japanese? Nectar, I mentioned that above. I think somebody said that Rogers Base mentioned that it could be based on Blackbeard's real bounty converted into modern yen. Interesting. I wasn't able to look up the real bounty though. Mega Cubic, thank you for a good answer. Maybe in the wide want to be too much of a clusterfuck, even for Oda to manage. Mega Cubic, how do you one-up Wano in the last arc war? Maybe Oda finds a way to separate all the important players, maybe through reverie. Yeah, okay. So, how do you This is a long question, so this is the very short version. Is how do you outdo something like the Wano war or Marineford? Easy. You do it 10 times over. You do it. Marineford was one location and one big war. Now do that one big war in 10 different locations at the same time. Boom. That 70s junkie, with all the reintroductions last chapter, do you think it would be a good time to get the Shogun in the upcoming chapter or two? I'd like to. I'd say maybe What were my thoughts? If we didn't get him coming right back into Wano, then I don't know if he'd be ready to show yet. But soon, I don't know, because maybe depending on how long this second act is, maybe he could be the kind of like Kaido was the big part of showing up near the end of the first act, right? So maybe maybe Orochi will be showing up during the end of the second act, and then we're introduced to all our major villains in an impressive way. But that depends what kind of person Orochi is, if he's a scaredy cat or not, or if he just surrounds himself with cool people. Tony B, think Jinbei's going to appear anytime soon? Jinbei will appear probably when Jinbei appears. He's going to be basically a member of the crew, so he has to appear when he saves everybody, and probably from the ocean. Maybe we'll get some of those cool waves going on. You know, I'm talking about the Hokusai waves. So I think he'll make a splash when he lands, and hopefully at that point we get our 2-page spread, Avengers Assembled, everybody, the Straw Hat crew together. That would be cool. Favorite Whole Cake Island arc moment for you? A favorite, huh? What did I read that was just like pure joy? I know it's selfish, but probably when we found out that Sanji was going to make a cake, because my cake theory was right, and I took a lot of lashings from people for that, for like, oh, it's such a stupid idea, that's never going to happen, and it was right, and it was just like, yeah, got it. So a little bit selfish, but maybe that was my favorite moment. Embryo Dave, how are people of Wano going to believe that Momonosuke is the son of Odin, even if he was gone for 20 years and still looks like a kid? That's going to probably have to do a lot with the mom. I'm going to guess that the mom, Toki, set up a lot of things for her family in the future. Plus, you have people like, you have Kinemon, who is not aged, and who is married to someone who can affirm that, like, yes, this is Kinemon. This is my husband. This is exactly how I remembered him 20 years ago. And they probably not the only ones. You're probably going to have very reliable people, the samurai that came back with, or went forward, rather, with them, being able to state that. But is there another way? Maybe he will show off some of his hockey abilities, and maybe that's, maybe he can speak to the people of the past, kind of like Roger did, and that will be their way of proving it. Maybe he'll read a poneglyph. Blah, blah, blah. Eddie Antal says, Oda once said that he doesn't like fights where someone outnumbers their opponent. Knowing that, do you think Kaido will be defeated in 1-on-1 by Blackbeard or Luffy? No, not 1-on-1. I think he's there will be some... Blackbeard maybe, but I mean, that will come after Luffy's already, like, bested him. Luffy and whoever he teams up with. You finished lightning round. Last question. Who is edgier, Katakuri or King? Edgier, you mean in terms of style? Yeah, I gotta go with King on that for the for the Gimp mask from you know, Pulp Fiction kind of thing. Yeah, that's definitely him. All right, I know there are more questions down here, but I went through the lightning round. I apologize for that, folks. maybe next time. And yeah, oh my god, look at all. I'm so sorry, folks. Yeah, I've done everything I like that. Right. Okay. Whew. All right, folks. We reached the end. I think I might. Somebody said Hamza, Emu is the lurking legend. I don't think Emu can be the lurking legend because Emu isn't a legend because people don't seem to know about it. Thank you, folks, for coming to join us for a discussion. I hope it was a good chat. I hope you had some fun. I am going to... I don't think I showed you any comic books, so I think I'm going to put this up. I think I'll just put this up on my channel. I don't think I need to edit it. And if you're interested in seeing some of the earlier talk or earlier discussion, you can check it out. All right? You guys have a great day, great night, great evening, wherever you are, if you're in Asia. And I will see you next time. Before you leave, would it be okay for me to text you with YouTube messages? Hey, you can message anything you want. I don't know if I'll get them. I'm not on my YouTube account that much until I get some things in line. But you can absolutely message me anytime you like. All right, take it easy, folks, and looking forward to discussing One Piece with you next time. Later.